close encounters with UFOs. Is national security on the line? High-ranking government and military officials from around the world have seen what you won't believe, and they risk their reputations to make the case. They're here, and so is Shirley MacLaine, who's had her own spacecraft sightings and can't wait for the chance to get on board. Next on Larry King Live. Good evening. A historic occasion will take place in Washington on Monday. Former high-level government employees, military officials, and pilots from all over the world will come together. They'll discuss their own UFO sightings and encounters, and they'll do it at the National Press Club in the nation's capital. Some of them will share their stories for the first time. This group has gathered together to call on the United States government to take an active role in investigating cases involving unidentified flying objects. That's the topic of our program tonight. Our panel here in Los Angeles, Fife Symington, the former governor of Arizona, who in 1997 ridiculed an infamous UFO sighting by thousands of people in his state and later admitted that he himself saw a craft. James Fox, the filmmaker who is the executive producer of the award-winning feature-length documentary Out of the Blue, the definitive investigation of the UFO phenomenon. Colonel Chuck Halt, United States Air Force retired, was the deputy base commander of Brentwater's Woodbridge, a U.S. military base in Suffolk, England. And in 1980, Chuck and his patrol investigated an internationally known UFO encounter in Rendlesham Forest, close to the Brentwater's Woodbridge case. Sergeant Jim Peniston, U.S. Air Force retired, was a Woodbridge security supervisor at that base in 1980, says he sat with a UFO on the ground for 45 minutes before it hovered above him and shot into the air at an unearthly speed. And in Copenhagen, Denmark, is Nick Pope. For 21 years, Nick was a government official for the British Ministry of Defense. From 91 to 94, he ran the British government's UFO project at the Ministry of Defense, where he researched and investigated the UFO phenomenon for the British government. Fife, are we now saying that the United States is taking this seriously, or is this just an event?
I think the United States is taking it seriously, and they need to. It's long overdue. The issues that James has so courageously tackled with his production deals with really the very top sightings around the world, and he's brought this group together for this press conference on Monday, and I think it's a great public service that he's providing.
And you're going to moderate it, right?
I'm going to moderate it, yes.
You were certainly a skeptic, right?
Originally, I was a skeptic.
And what changed yourself for sighting?
Well, I was part of the Phoenix Lights Over Phoenix event back in 1997. And I saw a wedge-shaped craft of enormous proportions fly over what we call the Squaw Peak area in Sunny Slope in Phoenix the night of the event, and it was something to behold.
James, you haven't cited it, right? You just did the film.
Yes, I've spoken with a lot of high-ranking military and government officials from several countries.
What got you involved to even do the film?
Well, it was an interest I had of mine. And it was a personal investigation, I guess, and I started to document some of the stuff on camera. The next thing I knew, I ended up with the film.
And
12 years later.
Will you be there Monday, too?
Absolutely, yes.
Are they going to show that film in Washington?
No, we're not. This is just to establish the fact that the phenomenon is real and it's happening worldwide.
Colonel Halt, the United States Air Force retired, was deputy base commander at Brentwater's Woodbridge. That's a U.S. military base in Suffolk, England, right?
That's correct.
Is it still there, that base?
It's still there, but the base is now closed.
Okay.
It's been returned back to its civilian owners and made into council housing, something like Section 8 housing.
What, if anything, did you see?
I saw some lights I couldn't explain. Very unusual lights. I don't mean just a light like a bulb. I saw something that was oval-shaped, maybe 10, 12, 14, 16 inches across, had a black center. It sort of winked, and it appeared to be dripping something like molten metal off it. It moved horizontally through the trees, avoiding trees, occasionally bobbed up and down a little vertical distance. It came toward us at one point. It receded. We were very concerned, but we tried to approach it to see if we could get close enough to discern what it was. It actually moved out into a farmer's field beyond us. We got up to the edge of the field. We looked at the object, watched it for a few minutes. I was very concerned because the object was illuminating the farmhouse behind it, and I wasn't sure whether there was some damage being inflicted on the people that lived there or what. Suddenly the object just exploded silently into 5 white objects and it disappeared.
What time of day?
This was about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning.
Did you report it?
Oh my, yes.
One thing I want to say quickly is that I think the objects overhead were far more interesting.
Yes.
The next series of events.
While we were in the field investigating, and we were actually looking for maybe burn marks on the ground from what was apparently dripping off this object, we noticed 3 objects to the north in the sky. They initially were elliptical. They were illuminated with multiple lights and were moving at high speed in sharp angular patterns. We noticed 2 objects to the south. One of them approached us at very high speed and sent down a beam. I would equate it now to a laser beam at our feet.
Who's the we, Colonel?
There were 5 of us. I took 5 people out to investigate.
What did your command superiors say?
At that time, my superiors were silent. It was 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I was communicating with the command post. I did take an audio tape. In fact, I brought the original tape recorder with me. It's a little linear tape recorder that I carried around the base. And I made a tape recording, which is about 15 or 20 minutes long. It's rather famous now.
And did you play it for them?
Oh, definitely. I played it the next day.
What did they say?
Well, my boss took it to the 3rd Air Force commander to the staff meeting the following Wednesday and played it for the staff. The reaction of the staff, from what I'm told, is they didn't know what to do. And the general at that time said, well, it happened off the installation. It's a British matter. Let the British handle it.
Were you there, Sergeant Peniston?
I was there on the first night. I went off base to check out a possible aircraft downing. I thought it was an aircraft crash, and I took my team with me. And when we got to the wooded line off the east gate, we discovered a craft of unknown origin. It was triangular in shape.
On the ground?
On the ground.
Did you touch it?
Touched it, walked around it, photographed it. We did a full investigation of it on the ground for 45 minutes.
Any sign of anything in it?
There was no exterior openings, no crew compartments, no intakes, no engine compartment that I could observe. It was a very smooth fabric craft. It was black in color with lighting running through the fabric of the craft.
Were you frightened?
Yes, it was. I was very concerned.
Where's your logbook? Can you show
in my
your
logbook
with the symbols on it?
Yes, as long as when I was taking notes, it was progressively got worse. Matter of fact, you can barely read my writing by.
And then it took off, right?
After 45 minutes, then it powered up with lighting and went to tree level and took off. And
did it make sound like an engine?
Absolutely no sound and no air displacement.
Just up.
Up and gone.
And the symbols, I think they're showing the symbols right now. Sorry.
Yeah, there are the symbols. We'll check in with Nick Pope in a moment. Do you believe there is extraterrestrial life? Head to our website, cnn.com/Larry King, to vote. There's also a special guest commentary by Governor Symington about what he saw in the Arizona skies. It also had Shirley MacLaine. We'll be back with more right after this. Copenhagen. Colonel Holt, investigating the area days later, he's here with us now, Colonel Holt, ended up seeing something himself. Listen to this audio tape.
There's no doubt about it. There's some type of strange flashing red light ahead. Yellow. I saw a yellow tinge in it too. Weird. It appears that he may be moving a little bit this way. Yes, it's right on house back. Yellow. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. Well, we've got an object about 10 degrees directly south, 10 degrees off the horizon. And the ones in the north are moving, one's moving away from us. It's moving out fast. There's one on the right side away too. Yeah, we're both heading north.
And we have with us, he brought it along, Colonel Holt's notes that he kept while this was going on, right?
Actually, it's Sergeant Peniston's notes.
Yep.
Your note.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Chuck. It was Sergeant Peniston's notes. You kept these while you were viewing this thing?
Yes, we needed the times and that for, log entries and stuff like that. It's routine. Yeah.
You missed the symbols on that. The symbols are so fascinating.
Routine activities, not a routine event.
That's right.
Let's check in with Nick Pope in Copenhagen, 21 years, a government official for the British Ministry of Defense. Nick, what do you make of all of this?
Well, the Rendlesham Forest case was certainly one of the most compelling UFO incidents in the British government's files on this, and critically, one of the very important things about